Fondling Cardboard Golf Cart Master Spool was such a resounding success that we'll be running it back again for the PGA. That's right, the next major tees off next Thursday for the PGA Championship. For those of you who aren't familiar, I've run an office-style pool contest for my friends and family for the past 5 years. And this year we did something special by incorporating sports cards. We gave away a Grand Slam Ventures Tiger Woods rookie graded SGC 9, the one that's been featured in my Instagram profile picture for years. We gave away 1996 Sports Illustrated for Kids rookie card rated SGC 3.5, a PSA 7 John Rahm rookie, precious metal gems of a couple guys, a Patrick Reed autograph scorecard from Augusta National. Okay, maybe Patrick Reed is like getting a lump of coal in your stocking. But you get the idea. It was a lot of fun to play with a lot of golf cart enthusiasts. It's like playing fantasy sports, and to the extreme for those of us who are hobby nerds. To join the contest or just to get more information, head over to linktr.ee/fondling cardboard. That's my link tree. Again, that's linktr.ee/fondling cardboard. Or you can just shoot me a DM on Instagram at the Golf Cart Collector, or watch out for details on the Golf Carts and Memorabilia Facebook group. See you there.
Ridiculous fondling cardboard.
What is up? Welcome back to Fondling Cardboard. I'm your host, Mike Lakusta, aka the Golf Cart Collector. We got another awesome one today. I'm not sure if I'm going to call it a goulash, but we're going to hit on a couple different topics. We're going to be kicking off with some Formula One racing talk. If that's not really your thing, hang in there because it's just going to be a few minutes and we will be getting into some card-related stuff, a breakdown of Scottie Scheffler's dominance from some actual professional golf analysts. Then we'll hit on some of my observations from my PSA grading submission and finish off with mailbag.
Lando Norris wins for the first time in Formula One. It's victory in Miami for Norris and McLaren. The British driver's dream is realised.
That is right. My favorite Formula One driver, Lando Norris, and my favorite team, McLaren, brought home the win. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Formula One, that might sound like just an every week occurrence, or, out of the 20 or 23 races every season, that there'd be a handful of different drivers that are winning. But we are currently in the era of Max Verstappen, and he is unbeatable. Like, absolutely unbelievable. So I'm just going to give a quick breakdown of this race. It's not going to be long, and you'll kind of get the picture of why this is so exciting. So for this race, Lando Norris started 5th place, and that's based on the qualifying on Saturday. So Sunday, he starts off 5th, and he drops back to 6th after a tough start. He was passed by his teammate, Oscar Piastri, who jumped 3 places in the first lap from 6th place to 3rd. It looked like it was going to be Piastri's race until a series of unfortunate events knocked him all the way to the back of the race. Most impressive part, though, of Lando's win is that Max Verstappen did not retire from the race. The first time that somebody has won a Grand Prix with Max still in the mix, in the hunt, in 20 races or something like that. And Max came 2nd place, so he was trying to hunt down Lando. So maybe, is this a turning point? Did Lando get lucky with the safety car situation, as he was the only one able to take advantage of a pit stop, saving him something like 10 seconds to the field? So the stars did align for Lando. But I mean, is this a time? Is the boring Max Verstappen always wins race scenario over? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Lewis Hamilton looked racy, and considering that Ferrari is always still in the mix these days, sort of anyways, with Charles Leclerc, I'm highly anticipating Lewis's success next year. At least I hope so. So let's connect this to cards. I sold most of my F1 collection, aside from a few cards that I love. I had a few cool Lando cards that I sold on Facebook Marketplace. Actually, it was to this dude who loves racing, and he ended up being a huge Lego connoisseur. And we talked about Speed Champions Lego F1 cards. It's actually a hobby I kind of got into over this past Christmas. Whenever I was going to Toys R Us, getting toys and whatever, I would see these Lego F1 cards. Cars, I mean, not cards. I've got cards on the brain. Anyways, for a couple of years, I would see these boxes on the shelf of the Mercedes Formula One and safety car combo package, and I kept telling myself, nah, that's silly. An adult shouldn't be buying this set of Lego cards. But I threw it on my Christmas list this past Christmas, and my wife got it for me, and I was actually amazed. It was so much fun. It's a way to kind of zero in, hyper focus in on something when you're building a little Lego model, and they're not big. It's small, like a $40 thing with a couple of things. Takes a few hours to assemble over the matter of whatever, a week or two. You can spend as little or as much time on it as you want. I ended up having a great conversation with this guy about Lego, Formula One, sports cards, trading cards. He got to kickstart his Formula One collection, and he also really liked Lando Norris. So there was a lot of really nice Lando Norris goodies in there, serial number cards, sapphire cards, all kinds of cool stuff. It was just awesome to bond with somebody in this hobby, this weird hobby of ours. And it kind of extended beyond sports cards, right? It's getting into Lego and sports itself and connecting with somebody in the city where I didn't grow up and building more social memories and just making this place feel more like home. I believe that we're supposed to be getting an Aston Martin dual product coming out next month with a Formula One card and a safety car as well, just like the Mercedes package. And this year, actually in March, we got the McLaren Lego car, which I was pumped about. I went to Walmart and bought it. I built it and I love it. It's so much cooler than the Mercedes, to be honest. And McLaren also has like a big one, and then they've got like a Technic one that's, not quite Lego, but similar. Anyways, honestly, there's actually this whole world of Lego. I'll break it down in a future episode. Maybe it deserves its own thing for those Lego nerds of us. So let's move along into some golf talk, shall we? Ooh, actually, no, I can't jump into golf yet because I have to hit on the card of the week. And to commemorate Lando's win, we've got card of the week is 2021 Topps Turbo Attacks F1 Lando Norris Fire Rookie. Serial number 202 out of 250. And this is graded as an SGC 10 Gem Mint. I assume it's Pop 1. I don't know if SGC has a Pop report, but I don't have a lot of Formula One cards left, so I didn't have a lot to choose from. But if I even had this giant collection that I used to have, this would still be card of the week. And I kept it for a reason. I actually just pulled this out of my favorite box. And for those of you who are just new to the show, my favorite box is where I like to sort all the cards that I would want to pull out when I've got family or friends visiting. And they say, hey, Mike, you're into this sports card thing, right? What's that all about? And I would say, one sec, run down to my sanctuary, grab my favorite box, and these are the cards I like to show off. These are the cards that I just like to look at. I never want to lose track of. And not that it's like a ridiculously valuable card, but it is definitely one of his nicer rookie cards. I like it too that it's a paper card and not the typical Topps flagship or chromium sports card sets. TurboTax is actual playing card game like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or whatever. And you can actually lay these on the table and play each other, I guess, like attack and pass. I don't know if it's like a race or something. I've never played the game, but it definitely doesn't look like a trading card. It looks like, it does look like a trading card more than a trading card game. And it is serial numbered, which normally trading card games don't have serial numbered. So it's obviously intended as a unique collectible. And this is really interesting too because it has a unique image. And we live in this world of parallels where so many manufacturers will print the same image of a card with different colored backgrounds or different stylings around it or different types of refracting or crystals or ice or waves or disco dots or whatever. But it's the same image. And what I love about this Fire set is that they took a completely unique image of the not only unique image of the athlete, but also of the background and everything. Like these cards stand out. They're unique. And so, it's serial numbered out of 250, but that's an honest number. There are 250 cards in the world with this image, with this card. Now, I do stand to be corrected. If there's any major Formula One fans out there who can disprove me, give me a shout. and let me know. But that is what I believe to be the case. It's a super cool, like, tire machinery kind of background. It says fire right on the card above the serial numbering. And yeah, it's like kind of a mixture of like kind of an action shot / portrait. I don't know. There's some cool Formula One cards out there, and for some reason this one just stood out to me the most. I didn't want to let it go. When I first found out about this Fire series, and I really wanted to get a Lando, I did what I always do, and I kind of obsessed over it. I was scouring eBay, I was checking out Facebook groups to see if anybody had some for sale, and I actually found a post from a seller in the UK who had posted on Facebook. And the post was actually pretty old. It was almost a year old or something like that. So he had posted fairly shortly after release, and he had posted saying he had a bunch of these Lando Fires for sale, like maybe 8 or 9 of them or something like that. So I reached out and I told him, hey, I honestly just want, 2 or 3 of your best condition ones. Because this guy didn't have any graded cards. He told me he doesn't do grading. So when I hear somebody say that, I think right away, oh, they might have some gem mint cards that, they normally somebody would submit, but if they're not into grading, then maybe I can get them from them. And I said, I want the best conditions. Be honest about what you've got. Send me some pictures and we'll work out a deal. So he sent me 3 copies and I bought them all. I graded 2 of them. One of them had like a little ding on a corner or something like that, and just didn't think it made sense. And then I sold that one. One of them got an SGC 9.5. I sold that one to somebody who lived somewhere in Scandinavia. I forget. It's kind of fun with F1 cards because you have a lot of European fans that you end up interacting with. And the third one, I was lucky, it gem minted. And there you go. That's my last remaining Lando Norris card and Formula One in general. Actually, I've got a couple other cards, maybe a couple of Lewis Hamiltons, and I do have almost a complete set of the 2022 flagship set, whatever year that was, first paper set. So one of these days when I'm looking for a sports card project to complete, maybe I'll go on to ComC and buy up all the rest of those flagship cards. Actually, the variations of the portraits in that flagship set, they can get pretty expensive. So if any of you have one of those and you want to do some kind of trade or something, I got lots of golf, let's do a deal. Sorry to you golf fans, it took a little longer than I expected, but hopefully when you listen to me talk about another sport or another type of trading card, you can kind of learn where my mind's at when I'm thinking about starting a collection or moving out of a collection or even just sports fandom in general. Speaking of sports fandom, in the golf world, there's only one guy that everybody's got their eyes on, and that's Scottie Scheffler. And he and Meredith are obviously expecting the birth of their baby any minute now. And Scottie decided not to play in the Wells Fargo Championship this week, since the baby could be here any day. And, my thoughts on Scottie are that he's such an interesting guy. Man, honestly, I feel like you could have a Scottie Scheffler podcast. He talks about faith. He talks about his identity and how that is not just connected to himself as a professional golfer. Previously, in his interviews, he used to be very short-worded. He'd answer the questions, but he wouldn't elaborate too much. He wouldn't expand too much. And what we're starting to notice is Scottie's coming out of his shell, and it is not at all in an egotistical way or that he has his head inflated at all. You can sense when he's answering questions and expanding more than he used to, he's doing it because he feels the responsibility. He feels like he's accountable for his number 1 world position. Like if you look at the world ranking points or whatever, I'm not too technical about how all that stuff works, but if you were to just look up like Scottie Scheffler PGA standings or world golf ranking points list or something like that, his number, whatever that index is that they use to rank the players, he's at like a 14, and the second best player is Rory McIlroy at like a 7. And Scottie Scheffler is more than double his points. So he's just absolutely dominant, and somehow he manages to stay grounded. It just blows my mind, and I struggle to find the right words. And that's why last week I pulled from the Stacking Slabs podcast. They do an auction talk, Brett and Nick, so check that out. They end up talking about a lot of hobby-related stuff. It's not all just about auctions. And this week I decided to do the same thing, except instead of pulling from another sports card hobby podcast, this time we're going to listen to The First Cut, which has professional golf analysts. These guys are the creme de la creme of podcasts about golf. And they seem to break down Scottie Scheffler and his game and his dominance and the importance of Scottie Scheffler in almost every episode. Or not every episode, but every week, because they publish episodes almost daily. So here's a clip from The First Cut. Let me know what you guys think about this.
The round of the day by 2 full strokes was a 63. And that was shot by Scottie Scheffler, who made 5 birdies on his first 9, turned in 31, and got 3 more coming in. For the day, he led the field in both strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained approach. It should be no surprise that he leads in both of those categories for the week as well. And Scottie is 18 holes away from another $3.6 million, another win, another jacket, and many more accolades.
It's awesome to watch. I think that's just and it's awesome to cover in a role like ours because it's never been easier. Tiger, I'm sure it was easier. I wasn't really doing this for much of Tiger's period of dominance, like the one we're seeing right now from Scottie Scheffler. But it's unbelievable when the best player performs his or her best when they're supposed to. And he just always does.
Yeah.
Right? Rick, this baseline is unbelievably high. The round on Thursday, I was talking about this on Thursday afterwards. It's easy to think, okay, well, he just won the Masters. There's a little bit of a hangover. He shot 2 under. He's tired. But if you go in and look at that round, there were 5 or 6 misses from about 7 to 8 feet. And it very easily could have been like this, 65, 66, 64 maybe. Like, this isn't abnormal. It's not extraordinary for Scottie. It's ordinary. It's the baseline. And it's just, we haven't seen this in a very long time. When somebody's normal golf is this good. It doesn't feel like he's doing anything crazy. It doesn't feel like this is a hot streak, if you know what I'm saying.
They are like Scottie tried to give them a chance this week. Show up late, play 9 holes, make double on my 3rd hole. I tried to give you guys a chance. I shot a 69 on Thursday. And now I must destroy you.
I must destroy you.
And I like your perspective of. Do you know how often the favorite wins a golf tournament? Like, very rarely.
Yeah, right.
Very, very rarely does the favorite win a golf tournament. And he is doing it routinely with high expectations almost on a weekly basis.
In big events.
In the biggest events that we have.
Yeah, it's amazing. I keep wanting to say unbelievable, but it is believable. It's predictable. And I'm not going out on a limb by saying I predicted this earlier in the week. I predicted this on Thursday night. It's not unbelievable. That was the easiest prediction you could make because this is where his game is. It's at this level. I can't remember being so confident in somebody for a long period of time. And Rick, this is the other thing that makes this so sustainable. Remember, just think back to last year when he had a disappointing 2-win season. The thing that is holding this guy back from doing what he's doing now is putts from inside of 5 feet. Okay, so
The easiest part of the game.
the part that you could teach your mother how to fix. You could teach anybody how to make 5-footers. Here's the best player in the world, and it's 5-footers that are holding him back. So now that that's solved, like this isn't going away. This has been the same for 2 years plus.
I don't want to exaggerate too much, but I do think we are going to look back in 5 years, and this might be win, I don't know, what is he at, 10 or 11? Win 10 of 25, 30? I don't know, right? I guess it depends on how far in the future we go. It just feels like he is going to be in everything.
Yes, because it's not manufactured. It's not a hot streak. Like what's gonna stop this? But like the putting yips, maybe he develops the putting yips. I don't know. I don't know what stops this. What slows this down? It's not like he hits it prestigiously far and there's like an injury on the horizon. Will Zalatoris first comes out. Okay, that guy looks like he could get hurt with his golf swing. Joaquin Niemann looks like that might be an injury-prone kind of golf swing. Scottie's not that way. The putting stroke can get balky. We know that. It did this week. It wasn't great on Thursday. Knows how to solve it. Hits it good enough. It's really hard to picture this slowing down because it doesn't feel like it's hot. It doesn't feel, he's not redlining right now. He's comfortably cruising. He's just in a really fast car.
Yeah, he's Max Verstappen right now. Do you know what number of the match we're on?
8?
We've had 9.
Okay, so 10 is next.
Just give me Scottie versus Nelly. Just give it to me.
It's right there in front of you.
And I don't need celebrities. I don't need athletes. I need these two on, and just like, let's go. Match play. Have at it.
Take us out to someplace we're never going to see a professional event, like, Bandon Dunes or a Hoopy Match Club or something like a cool kind of exclusive place.
Yeah.
And
just run it.
One-on-one, like Shell's Wonderful World of Golf.
Yeah. I would be in on that. I think a lot of people would be in. I don't need to see basketball. I don't need to see Steph Curry. I don't need to see Patrick Mahomes. We'll catch those guys later. I need to see Scottie versus Nelly.
I want to see Patrick Mahomes under center. And I want to see Steph Curry with the basketball in his hands. And I want to see Nelly Korda play Scottie Scheffler. That would be awesome.
The biggest thing I got out of that recording is that Scottie Scheffler is here to stay. Like when Scottie's playing, his usual game and he's going through a drought on the putter or he's just missing a piece or two, he still has a season with a couple of wins and it's a disappointment. And then once he connects the dots and he's, playing his real game, he is just blowing the field out of the water. And then when he's firing on all cylinders and just full on doing Scottie Scheffler stuff, man, that third level is just pure Tiger Woods level dominance. And I'm pumped about it. Now, are we going to get Scottie Scheffler cards? Obviously, there's the Sports Illustrated for Kids rookie, and there's actually a second Sports Illustrated for Kids Scottie Scheffler card that nobody talks about because it's not his rookie card. And for those of you who just want a Scottie card because there aren't any others to get, yeah, check out that other one. I think it's like 2022 or something like that. Not a rookie, but yeah, sweet card nonetheless. But ultimately, to answer the question, are we going to get more Scottie cards? Are we going to get any Scottie cards? I think the answer is yes. I think even if Upper Deck can't manage to sort out a deal with him, which I honestly I think they will, but if they can't, man, all the other brands are going to be chomping at the bit once he continues this dominant streak. Panini is going to go after him. Have him as a, even if he won't sign cards, Panini Prism isn't about autographs. It's about just having, parallels and golds and black 1-of-1s and whatever. So they could just get his name, image, likeness. Scottie doesn't have to do anything. They just print his picture on these cards, and man, those would be crazy expensive. Not only that, like, this isn't just about the money, but crazy collectible. And, if they can't, I'm guaranteed Leaf is going to be chomping at the bit. Not that Leaf has a lot of money to offer, but as a non-licensed product, they're going to go after anything under the sun that's hot. And Scottie Scheffler's hot. All right, next we're going to talk about PSA, grading submissions, and my process for prepping cards. And, I honestly, I don't talk about this a lot. I'm a card fondler. Okay, and I like to get cards in their best condition. That does not include alterations. It doesn't include trimming, recoloring, whatever, any of that crap that is unethical, especially if you're trying to clean up a card and then sell it, or grade it and sell it for more money than it is worth. Or honestly, selling something for more than you bought it for. I've learned from my friend Paul Hickey in recent conversations that you guys have heard. It's okay. It's okay to make money selling something, but it's unethical to sell something without the buyer understanding or kind of concealing defects or concealing faults, especially ones that could pop up in the future. Or even if they can't pop up in the future, that's no excuse. You can't, even if there were a special paint that you could recolor a card to make it look brand new without a risk of anyone finding out, I wouldn't do it, because it's against the spirit of the hobby. It's against the idea that these cards have traveled through time and have been curated and collected and adored. And I've got respect for that. Now, all of this was a preamble to basically say that I do have a Kurtz Card Care package. And the main reason I got that is I was prepping some Pokemon cards for grading, and I saw one of Kurt's videos about Pokemon, and it just makes the shine pop. Like it basically, the holographic Pokemon cards kind of fade over time. Like they just kind of get, I don't know, dull maybe. Like I don't know if it's oxidizing or if it's from cards rubbing around or whatever. But when you use that card polish, it just gets any crap off that's accumulated, and the shine just really comes through. And so that's why I wanted it in the first place. And when I got it, the card polish is kind of what I focused on. With chromium cards, if you see print lines or little very faint surface scratches, you can kind of, buff them out a little bit with the card polish. There's also the card spray, and I tried it a couple times to prep cards, just kind of sprayed it and then wiped it down. And I don't know, to me, it just seemed like water. I just felt like I was spraying a little bit of water on the card. And when it comes to just simply wiping a card, I find that if I just hold it up to my breath and I breathe on it gently, and the condensation from the air shows up on the card, and then I wipe that away with a microfiber cloth, even with having Kurt's card spray, I find that my breath is just easier and kind of works really well. I mean, if I've been eating Doritos or something like that, it makes me wonder if any particles might, accidentally show up on the surface of the card. But nonetheless, that's kind of what I prefer for wipe downs. And then the other feature that the Card Care Kit comes with is called a corner tool. And it's a wooden dowel with a small piece of plexi tubing on the end. And the purpose of that is to kind of, it's called a corner tool. So it's to kind of sharpen a corner, not sharpen. That's not the right word. You're not removing material or anything like that. But cards have these little white frays that can kind of stick out on the edges and corners of cards. I think Kurt calls them hairs. That kind of makes sense. And so with the corner tool, you can kind of like lay them down flat. So instead of sticking out like a bad hair day on your card, you can use this tool to kind of like lay them down flat so everything looks nice and crispy and sharp. Now, is that unethical? I don't think so. I do it. But, some people might say, well, you're changing the state of the card. I don't know. But then you can get into some bigger stuff. So, sticking with the corners, what if a corner were to be dinged? Well, Kurt has all kinds of procedures for that. I mean, anything from adding little droplets of his card spray, putting it in a humidifier. He calls it humidor. It's kind of like a cigar box that you can control the humidity in there, kind of bump it up so that the card starts to kind of inflate a little bit, kind of like gets a little bulky. And then when you remove it, it'll kind of compress back down when the humidity leaves the card. But little wrinkles, corner dings, things like that can kind of like work themselves out with that humidity. So, when you start looking at that kind of stuff, I can understand, it's not for everyone. Some people might say, well, that's getting a bit deep into the weeds with this hobby. I'll admit I did it once with a card, and not a high-end card, card worth tens of dollars. And yeah, I managed to make a really dinged corner looked less dinged. But if you still looked at it, it wouldn't look sharp. It didn't look pack fresh. And that's okay. At the end of the day, the goal is to just make the card look more presentable, look nicer, so that when I put it up on the stand on my desk, that ugly corner doesn't bother me as much. Similarly with edges, you can have those bad hair days with edges. With the edges, it's interesting. You can use a packer or painter's tape, not packing tape. Make sure it's painter's tape, something with not very strong stick. And you wrap it around your finger and very gently kind of like roll your finger along the edge and kind of like you touch the edge, just roll it, 20, 30 degrees, and then pick it back up and just sort of over and over again, just kind of, and now what that does is it actually picks the hairs off. Now, is that removing material? Is that trimming? Well, it's definitely not trimming, but I guess theoretically, yeah, those hairs are getting stuck on the painter's tape. So again, it's a bit of a gray area. I'm sure there's hardcore collectors that think removing those little hairs with a bit of painter's tape is totally unethical, and that card should be spoiled and never graded and flagged and slabbed with a big red warning sign label saying tampered with, altered card, whatever. But at the end of the day, even that doesn't quite pass the line for me. Like, it's just these little hairs on the edge of a card. And then last but not least, I'm fully opening the kimono here. I'm being fully transparent. I experimented with soaking a 1970, was it, Telepop card. So I have this complete set. And just to give you the backstory, I bought the set because I wanted the Blues Brothers card. I have the Blues Brothers card graded. I think it's a PSA 5, if I'm right. And I still want to send one in to Dan Aykroyd and see if he would be willing to autograph the card for my son Elwood, because of course he played Elwood in the Blues Brothers. Now, the complete set that I bought, these damn cards are glued into this magazine, basically. And when you try and rip them out, the card gets all shredded up and a big piece of the card comes off. And so, yeah, I want to figure out a way to get this card that has deep personal value out of that magazine. And so you can try and kind of peel off some bits and pieces if I can, and then cut around the card from the magazine and then soak it. And when the card is soaked, I'm not trying to remove blemishes. I'm not trying to work out wrinkles and creases or make the card's color pop out more or anything like that. I'm just trying to get this damn thing off the card, the back of the card, so I could send it in to Dan Aykroyd. And once it's wet, the actual magazine page is a lot more like susceptible to kind of using a pen, or I guess it would be like a spoon or fork or something, just kind of trying to scrape bits of the magazine off. And the end result is, you get all the magazine page off. The back of the card does not look clean. It does not look pack fresh. You can tell that bits of it are pulled off. The writing is all skewed. Like it's obvious. And so, here's an example where I don't believe in soaking for 99% of reasons. Like, I don't think you should be taking cards and soaking them in special mixtures or whatever. I mean, if a card were to fall in a bucket of water by accident, I wouldn't say, sorry guys, it's done. Let's make a funeral for the card and do our 41 gun salute or whatever the number is. No, grab the card and put it between some paper towel, maybe throw it into the middle of a heavy book and just kind of let it dry out and try and save your card. But if your intent is to change that card and have it graded and kind of, totally change its current condition, I mean, I wrestle with this because I don't think that's fair. And yet here I am doing this kind of personal project that uses the same techniques, but I don't feel has any unethical aspects of it. I'm really curious what you think about that. So shoot me a DM if you've got any feedback on this segment, opinions on any of the techniques I just talked about. If you wanna bash me, let's have a chat. And I'm all for honesty and transparency in the hobby. So let's go. Now I realize I actually set this segment up as, talking about my grading and some trends that I noticed with PSA grading submissions. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about that. The reason I get mostly 10s on my submissions, it's been crazy. Some of it's been dumb luck. Some of it's, maybe the graders and just seeing the things that I see. But at the end of the day, I'm not getting 10s because I'm cleaning cards and using polishes and whatever and corner tools. I honestly, most of the cards I'm submitting have not been touched at all with any of those products. But the reason that I get mostly 10s is that I become intimate with my cards, man. And that sounds so awkward to say, but I full on card fondle. I, have my light out. I've got my loop, magnifying loop, and I'm looking the cards in different light angles. I'm looking them up and down. I can easily spend half an hour looking at a single card and just obsessing over it and, looking for little fingerprints and gently rubbing them out with the fiber cloth. I'm talking about fondling and rubbing one out. This is ridiculous. Okay. This is cards after dark. Anyways, I use a microfiber cloth and, wipe off any grease, anything I can see on the card. And then, out of 100 cards that I look over and spend time with in my sanctuary, like I might only send in 5 or 10 of them because I'm so picky. I'm so anal about making sure the cards I send in look perfect that the graders see what they see and they're not doing the whole paranoid pop control where people think that PSA is giving certain grades to limit grades. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm probably not sending in iconic enough cards for that to really come into play. But I get mostly 10s, and it's just because of the scrutiny and level of attention that I give my cards before I send them in. Next up, we've got mailbag. All right, Jesse Gibson, if you're listening to this, I full on copied that from you. Maybe that'll be the last time. So we've got a couple questions here. First from Brad Morris in the Facebook group, Golf Cards and Memorabilia. He asks, why are all the new game-used memorabilia cards beat to death straight out the packs? Have yet to see a memorabilia or thicker auto card that doesn't have large amounts of dinged edges or corners. Brad, I don't know if you were collecting during the 2021 sets, but I got some news to break here for you. Our Artifacts, SP Game Used, and maybe even SP Authentic, man, all of those sets had terrible quality control. And it's been a big issue for Upper Deck golf cards in recent years. I've seen it also carry over to Metal Universe Champions. Not so much Goodwin Champions. And, not so much their hockey releases. For the most part, I think their hockey releases have excellent quality control. So even though I can't give you an exact reason why, I can tell you it's nothing new. It makes cards that are in excellent condition at a premium value. So keep your eye out for cards that look like they're very clean. And it particularly affects the thicker cards, as you've mentioned. And that's obviously because the thick cards have to get kind of manhandled and manually inserted. Actually, it's funny, I look back at some videos I did in the 2021 timeframe when Artifacts just released. And I did a box break on YouTube. And at that time, I kind of had this thought process that, like, when you open a box, just open a pack a day. Or like, occasionally. What's the sense in madly ripping through an entire hobby box all at once? And I mean, that just goes to show that I am and was all about the hobby, all about the experience, all about collecting the cards themselves. Because if I open one pack and it's total whiff, I don't just throw them off to the desk and grab for another pack. If I'm only opening that one pack that day, then I'm reading all the cards. I'm getting to know who the athletes are. I'm learning their stats. I'm learning the fun facts on the back of the cards, how much money they've earned in their career and how tall they are, where they're from, all the different details, and just admiring the design of the card. So, as I'm looking back at those videos, it actually clicked that I talked a lot about this issue, Brad. The quality control was god awful. To hear that it still is a disappointment. So step up your game, Upper Deck. All right, we got the second and final mailbag question of the week. And this one came courtesy of John Reinitz. And he asks, can we get a product review and thoughts on the new 24 Upper Deck release? Yeah, John, that's definitely something we could do. In the past, I have done some product reviews for golf sets coming out. In fact, when the 2024 Upper Deck product was announced, I did like a big review of the set, and that was on a past episode of Fondling Cardboard. So you can look back in the archives and find that one. We talk about the checklist, talk a lot about expectations, what the product is, who it's for, who the target customer base is, if it's collectible, talk about Young Guns, history of Young Guns, and that's actually a topic we got into with Jeremy Lee as well in one of Jeremy Lee's episodes, so check those out too. I'll chat with maybe James Peacock. He'd be a great guy to go back and forth with. I don't know exactly why, but the 2024 Upper Deck set for me was a little bit of a letdown. Maybe it's that the autographs are far and few between. In fact, that's putting it lightly. Like there's literally like 25 cards in the entire product that are autographed, and that's not unique cards. I mean, literally like 10 or 15 of Tiger Woods and 10 or 15 of Will Zalatoris, and there's no other autographs in the product. And I realize it's not an autograph heavy product, but there's just certain things that didn't catch my attention in this product. And that combined with the fact that Metal Universe Champions is trying to catch up to the calendar year. So we had 2021 Metal Universe Champions and some amazing cards, Precious Metal Gems, Star Rubies, and lots of other cards that I liked to collect. And I like them because I also collect basketball cards, I collect other sports. And to be able to get a consistent product line in the other sports that I like, as well as golf, and kind of have a collection with the same types of cards, that's just kind of special to me, as well as the fact that they're throwbacks to special designs from the 90s. So there's been multiple Metal Universe Champions since 2021. So there's been 2022 and 2023 that were released very close together, and that mixed in with the same situation with Goodwin Champions, where we're getting some cool golf cards and shiny cards. It's just resulted in me not necessarily focusing in on the golf specific products. And I know I can't get the same checklist and all the same golfers, but it's just been what I'm personally drawn to. So even though I personally love my limited checklists with anywhere from 2 to 7 or 8 golfers in a multi-sport set, even though that's where my attention keeps getting drawn, I really appreciate this reminder, John, because I should, get back more into the golf specific products, at the very least, getting to know them, reviewing them, talking to people who have opened the products and collected the products and completed sets and are PCing certain golfers. Then I would love to do that. So thanks for the recommendation. And gosh, I guess that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure to join the PGA Championship Golf Cards pool with lots of sweet prizes. I'm going to be posting on my Instagram, the Golf Cards Memorabilia Facebook group. I'll be sharing links to join the pool. And if you're not on social medias, then you can head over to my Linktree, which is linktr.ee/Fondling Cardboard. I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, guys.
Ridiculous golf card collector.